大家晚上好，谢谢大家今晚抽空来我们工人党的群众大会。今天晚上我会先用英文和大家谈谈一些我们切身的课题，然后我再用华语来总结一下。During the last elections in 2011, the Workers' Party has highlighted various problems and issues Singaporeans are plagued with. The government said they have listened to you, but conditions have yet to get better. But on the bright side, the government is at least trying to solve the problems they themselves have created through numerous bad policies. Today, I wish to talk about another topic I am passionate about: nurturing entrepreneurship, positive risk-taking, creativity, and social confidence in the young. As an entrepreneur myself, I do wish to see more of those traits in the younger generation. Singapore has been ranked as one of the top, if not the easiest place to do business for the past many years. The government has undoubtedly invested and set much resource to encourage entrepreneurship and startups over the past decade. Yet, comparatively to such input, the creation of knowledge and production of creative goods and services, known as the Innovation Efficiency Index, ranks Singapore a low 94. Although the focus for Singapore is to move towards a knowledge-based economy, the government cannot just look at economic growth as a grand goal. They also have to look at our economic structure to serve Singapore sustainably. We still need local businesses that cater to local needs, that hire locals at decent wages, that provide quality goods and services for locals. Homegrown brands like Red Top, Yakult, and Charles & Keith are now an international brand. They are all success stories, and they all started from a single small store catering to the local needs. I believe we have many talented young people who are passionate about non-technology intensive businesses like food and beverage and in hospitality. Thus, it is important that financing support should also be given to such startups and young SMEs on a larger scale. We look at many challenges when one starts a business. Apart from increasing the scope and depth of finance schemes to startups, can the government do something about skyrocketing rent that many businesses have to grapple with? I speak firsthand for industries such as the retail industry and the F&B industry. I started off straight from university, opening a gift store in 1999, and with a lot of hard work, expanded to a chain of retail stores. Just one of the stores' rental cost almost $20,000 per month. Having graduated for long and at the age of 23, the amount of stress I had to deal with was quite intense. I decided, a few years after I sold that company, I decided to open a small bar in 2004, intending for people to come in to relax and have a couple of drinks after a hard day's work. But after my initial 2-year contract, the landlord, upon renewal, decided to increase the rental by 300%. In both cases, I felt that I was working very hard for my landlord, so I decided to start it off again. Rental cost is the one single biggest expense for many such businesses. Even a push cart in a shopping mall occupying just 2 square meters costs between $2,000 to $3,500 a month. After you include a 2-month rental deposit, it is very daunting for budding entrepreneurs who do not have much capital to even think about starting a business. And existing businesses also struggle with rental constantly. I always joke that, like my age, rental always goes up but never comes down. So high rentals also put pressure on other aspects of the business, such as wages, investment in machinery, and investment in productivity. Often small business owners simply have no choice but to choose cheap labor, foreign unskilled, local unskilled, part-timers, etc. Not because they like to, but because there is simply not enough left after paying rent. Because we can't afford appropriate wages, we are stuck with transient and low-skilled labor. Because our laborers are unskilled and transient, we can't invest properly in their productivity development. The workers also know this and approach the job as a dead-end plan. High rentals not only drive, but further aggravate the low productivity and service standards. This is most severely felt in the service and F&B sectors. If the government is able to realize that this is a very real problem, then they should do something tangible for businesses in these sectors. Perhaps government-linked more operators can set aside a certain quota to charge a more affordable rent for local businesses and brands. Charging a local business and brand the same rent as that of an international brand such as Chanel or Kate Spade is simply not a level playing field for local businesses. I understand it all comes down to dollars and cents for the operators. But we have to look beyond that, and we have to start nurturing entrepreneurship amongst us. Punggol, a Japanese company, currently helps incubate our local designers in the Marina Bay Mall. If a Japanese company is willing to invest in our young fashion entrepreneurs, then what is stopping our own GLCs? Or the government could also consider giving incentives to the private operators in giving priority or certain concessions to local businesses. I believe that Singaporeans do not lack in the desire to start businesses. If they were aided in ways than just qualifying for government finance schemes like those, I am sure Singaporeans would naturally be more inclined to venture into starting up their business. The government recently announced that they will spend $15 million teaching students to think like entrepreneurs, because they believe that the issue is with the Singaporean mindset. I believe a bigger portion of the money would be better spent in those areas I've touched on. When I was in school, I was not thinking of being an entrepreneur. I certainly wasn't taught to be one. But I was willing to take risks and did not subscribe to the notion that to be successful, I have to be working for an MNC or in a government institution. What I believe could be nurtured in schools are one's creativity, social confidence, and risk-taking. We have to stop emphasizing on grades alone, and that failure is not at all shameful, but applauded for bravery because one dares to push the boundary. In this way, their confidence can only be boosted and not shaken. Dr. Cole speaks about wanting to teach people to fish instead of feeding them fish. That I agree. What I want is people, especially the young, to be given the tools to learn how to fish, not just sitting them in a class with a module on how to fish 101. Moving on to other sectors, creation of more hotbeds of entrepreneurship would also boost creativity. Startup clusters could be created, mini towns with affordable rental, filled with people from various backgrounds, filled with new ideas, developing new technologies, and creating new products. The SMEs contribute to 50% of Singapore's GDP and account for 70% of total employment. If we are really serious about achieving sustainable organic economic growth, the government must start recognizing that nurturing local companies of all kinds, technology intensive or not, is important, and is willing to create an ecosystem that supports our local entrepreneurs in realizing their business ideas. Lastly, I'm happy to note that Minister Kauman has recently announced that singles aged 35 and above are now able to buy a BTO flat. I am glad that Singaporeans like me are finally no longer discriminated in that area. Since rallies do not happen often enough for the government to listen to ground feedback, let's vote for Lee Li Lian into the parliament so that we can count on her to bring up more issues like this in the parliament. So come this Saturday, vote for Workers' Party, vote for Lee Li Lian. 现在，让我以华语总结一下。